What was that?
Okay. Is everyone here, or did everybody go? Did
Yep,
everybody say they're going? Is that a...
I'm here.
Yep, yep. Okay, all right. I now call the 1941 general meeting to order. Okay. Right. Look, before we get into this discussion, there are a few acknowledges the Führer would like to make. Chester, you top fucking dog. You absolute fucking legend. I just cannot get over how well you just made Switzerland disappear and Denmark disappear. Like, it's just, you know, that's quality. You know, you can't buy that. That's just pure friendship, pure loyalty.
I like to please my Führer.
And you do. You most certainly do. Right. Now, moving on. I am a little bit stunned for words. I can't help but notice that we're not in England. But you know what? Before anyone else says anything, I feel like it certainly wasn't from a lack of trying. Except for the Kriegsmarine.
Can't
Yeah.
scapegoat me.
No, no one's scapegoating you. I'm just pointing out, from what I've heard from the other officers quite frequently, was that ships were missing. Ships weren't there. There weren't enough naval bombardments. There just weren't ships. You were getting wrecked in the channel.
Because
All
they were
these
looking
excuses.
for any excuse.
No, we have German steel, German engineering, German initiative, German planning, and yet, for some reason, the ships were lacking. The fighters themselves, those loyal boys we raised on farms and made fly planes, just went over to fight over land on a different fucking island and still managed to kill a fuck ton of dudes. And yet, the Kriegsmarine are unable to deal a decisive blow to the Royal Navy. I am disappointed. Along with that, Scored, you did promise me that we would be there. But I feel compelled to mention that I feel like my expectations were too high. I did not give you the stuff you needed, despite everything I was doing. More factories, more territories, I'm speaking, more dockyards. I made so much more shit, researched so many more things, and yet I feel like Germany let you down, Scored. We didn't
My
enable
Führer,
you.
this is an outrage. This is an
The
outrage.
Führer is speaking!
Sounds like a
Jesus
Dalek
Christ.
there, too.
My fear, I appreciate respect. They're spot on. And I'd like to point out, did you just see that uproar? That pure disrespect for Kriegsmarine just then? We've been dealing with that non-stop with our English campaign. We quite often ask the Kriegsmarine's assistance. And they never provide solutions. They just provide excuses. Over and over. Every time we ask them to assist, they never tell us how they're going to assist. They just rock up, do whatever the fuck it is they're doing, and then disappear, shouting excuses as they sail away.
And yet I noticed they
Sure,
seem to just
they
gallivant
had
about
their
in the
stats.
Atlantic Ocean with all
Exactly.
their subs.
Exactly.
Supposedly
They're
killing
they're just
convoys.
out there, just fish in a barrel. Fish in a barrel. Padding their stats, saying, look how good we are. But not at all contributing to the efforts that actually matter. Now, I sure as hell don't know, but do you know what the Kriegsmarine objectives are? Have they at all told anyone what their objectives are, what they hope to achieve, what they're aiming for?
I can only
Now-
tell you, and this is all I know from my friend Jester, is that no fucking submarines are their current objective.
That's all we know is they're not building submarines anymore. We know what the Air Force is trying to achieve. We know what every single theatre of the Army is trying to achieve. The Navy's just up doing their own thing. And anytime they're questioned, they get defensive and start pointing the finger at everyone else but themselves. And this is making my English campaign very difficult because they're just not cooperating. They're a vital part of us securing the waters into England, maintaining shipping and supply routes to help us push forward. We just cannot hold a foothold in England because our shipping and supply routes are not secure. Now the Kriegsmarine is quick to point the finger at everyone else but themselves for why this is a failure, but we all need to work together. And I share with you that the Kriegsmarine has just been a big disappointment.
Before you say any more, I would like to ask you, based on the state of what you have seen, do you believe that you can get on to England in the state we're in?
No.
Oof.
Very well. Jester.
Yes, Von Führer. My recap.
It appears that we are unable to get onto England. And it appears that the Kriegsmarine may be to blame. Do you have any words?
Von Führer, I would like to distance myself from the Kriegsmarine. And their actions in the past 12 months.
I accept. It wasn't your fault. There's
I would also
so much
like
you can do.
A commander is ultimately responsible for
Oi!
all of the
9999! Jester is talking.
I would also like to push for the creation of the SS as an independent department within our military force.
I'm pretty sure I'm
As
already going
the-
along that line. Like, the OKW is quite rebellious about this.
Yes, as the Führer's personal attack dogs.
Yeah, you've got like 7 of those like custom SS divisions that you get. Like every time the option comes up, I just say yes. Like the Wehrmacht is not okay with this. Like it is dangerous, but it's happening. Look, I feel
As
like.
for the...
Oh,
go ahead, my
sorry.
Führer.
I will let you continue recapping, and then I would like to speak before I open the floor to everyone else.
I was saying, as per the Kriegsmarine, I do agree with the Army's assessment that we cannot get into the United Kingdom. You have the floor, my Führer.
Thank you. Mwah, I kiss his hand. Okay, now. I believe... Wait. Damn! We're going with logic. I believe that we should, we need to draw England out. We missed our opportunity with Operation Sea Lion. If only we had done it earlier, I think. And again, scored. I truly believe that was not your fault. Okay?
Thank you.
So we should draw them out, and we should capture the Suez Canal. We should force England to fight elsewhere around the world, so that it's not so heavily fortified like it is now. And then we try again. Perhaps we even invade Ireland if necessary. I don't know how that would go, but I would trust. I will build a great Atlantic wall to prevent any possible invasions from the foolish British, if they so come again. I would like presented to me from all branches plans to take the Mediterranean. In the meantime, I would just quietly, just from outside the door, Hungary, how you doing?
Good, my friend. I am curing your
That's enough.
flank.
Okay, right, so, yeah, Also, Jester and Avi, I would like to hear your separate plans for taking over Norway. As well as that. But in the meantime, I would like all of us to focus on the Mediterranean. Alright, but while that's all being planned, Magnet. You know, I wasn't so sure about you, but my god, you got really good at War Thunder Arcade there. Do you want to tell us about that?
Look, all I can say is that I'm extremely proud of the efforts of the Luftwaffe men and certainly not women who were fighting and continued the fight over England. I believe we've killed over 7,000 fighters, whilst only losing 1,000 or so of our own in the last 12 months. And we've seen a marked decrease in the number of English fighters and sorry, I should say Allied fighters, because they are coming from all over the world, over the skies of England. And I believe truly it is only a matter of time before we drive their war industry into the ground. And that is something I would like to continue focusing on, of course, whilst supporting the efforts in the Mediterranean. Our brave Fallschirmjäger unfortunately suffered losses in the invasion, along with our brave marine forces who landed on the shore. And it would be ideal to rebuild those divisions for the efforts in the Mediterranean.
Rebuild, Magnet? What are you saying?
I'm saying our men, unfortunately, died valiantly in your name, taking London.
Did they take London?
They landed there.
What percentage of forces did the Air Force lose in terms of the Fallschirmjäger?
I believe we lost 6th Division.
It's 40,000 men.
Just clarifying that 60%.
40,000 men, 4,000 guns.
Shush!
See what I mean about the Kriegsmarine pointing out everyone else's failures?
Magnet.
Monfiora.
They were some of our best.
They were, and each fatality is like a knife in my heart, Monfiora.
I don't know, Jester. This is... I think the fighter toll has taken a toll on you, Magnet. The Fallschirmjäger will now be under Jester's command.
Thank you, Mein Führer. The SS will use them well.
Monfiora, I must protest that.
Protest what? You can protest me 40,000 times, but they're gone. They are gone. And you didn't even...
Monfiora.
You just landed
Monfiora.
there. I just got a note across my desk from the fucking Gestapo. It says they died like little bitches. What the fuck, Magnet? What the fuck?
Monfiora, I have no true explanation that can justify the loss of our soldiers.
Scored, get away on this. I'm tired of hearing from you. You Fallschirmjäger killer.
I have nothing to say. A lot of good men were lost in Britain. And I can attest the Luftwaffe's intentions. They were pure and they were great. They were not sacrificed in vain. The plan was solid. The paratroopers were lost just like the Marines were lost. Also some of the divisions of the army. Not hold on to the ports. There was no bombardment there like we requested. We just lacked the support. And the English army overran us. Now, Magnet did not throw those paratroopers away carelessly. he loved them. He treated them as if they were his own children. He knew every single one of their names. Now, it was a catastrophic failure, sure. But god damn it, we tried our hardest. And they all fought bravely.
Just imagine,
And-
like, before they're fucking, like, deployed. You were all named Heinz now, so I remember you.
yeah, he knew every single one of their names. Even if they were all called Heinz.
Ja, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
For you to take that responsibility away so quick, one mistake. The Luftwaffe has performed so well, above expectation. And for you to punish Magnet and the efforts his Luftwaffe has done for the German Empire, one mistake I think is reacting too quickly, my Führer. I suggest you give him another chance with the Luftwaffe, and we can focus our efforts on the Mediterranean.
Damn it. I believe you're right, Scott. I was caught up in the moment.
I would like to
I'd be
make a
upset
comment,
with-
Mafura.
Oh,
You weren't there, man! You weren't there!
He wasn't, but let him speak.
I would just like to also say that the Luftwaffe has done a spectacular job in the air war over the United Kingdom. Their victory against the UK fighters was nothing short of phenomenal. The strategic bombing essential in the destruction of the unwanted empire. However, their success stops in the air. Once you hit the ground, it can only be described as abysmal. I believe we should reinforce the Luftwaffe's success by keeping them in their aeroplanes and not letting them out to land on the ground. That's why I do believe that the Fallschirmjäger do belong in the hands of the SS.
That argument makes no sense.
But I feel compelled.
Mein Führer,
Hmm?
I would like to remind you that it was the Luftwaffe's paratroopers that were the first on the Western Front when Germany was first assaulted by the unwanted empire. Our men fell into Stuttgart and defended it, whilst no other German force was there. Then they landed behind the British and French force, cutting them off and assisting in ensuring the capitulation of the disgusting French. They gave their lives trying to dismantle the English Empire.
It
It
was not for a
was,
lack of trying.
it was not for a lack of trying, and I have tried to be as humble as I can in this endeavour and not point fingers or blame. However, again, as you have acknowledged yourself, the Kriegsmarine left us on the shores of England with no support. As much as I feel the deaths of each and every single one, I blame the Kriegsmarine.
Well, I feel... I'm going to take that as a little debate there. I'm going to give Magna the star for convincing me to let him keep the Fallschirmjägers. On the download, Jester, I'm totally going to give you one of those divisions.
Thank you, Mafura.
Alright, okay. So, you know, we've had some time. But, I think it's time. Just, bring him out of the kennel. Let us hear what he has to say.
Warping?
Oh, yeah, to be honest, Kriegsmarine's getting pretty sick and tired of being scapegoated by every other branch of the German military. It just seems that,
Damn it, man, fight back.
it's never the army's fault. It's never the Air Force's fault. The SS, they haven't had any problems because they're competent. Just seems that whenever anything goes wrong for any other branch, it's somehow it's the Navy's, because, you know, The Navy makes one small mistake and loses a ship to a surprise attack, loses 1.8 thousand men. They get gutted and put under another person's command, had their production program destroyed, and their future plans for expansion thrown away. But, the Navy, the Air Force lose 40,000 men, 6 divisions, on a failed attack on the British capital. They get a pat on the back, and that's all right. It's okay, not to worry. The Army lose 100,000 men on 3 failed invasions of the English coast. There's 100,000 men. What do they get? It's not your fault. I know you tried so hard. Don't worry about it. Navy's getting pretty sick and tired of this, to be honest. I feel like there should be some major changes. I feel like there should be punishments, summary executions, and demotions.
Like
Okay.
That's what the Navy has to say.
You will be
I feel
hanged
as though-
tomorrow.
Yes!
Is that what
That's
you want?
exactly what I'm saying, my Fuhrer.
That's exactly what I was about to say. My Fuhrer, I believe he's just made a case against himself.
Look, Admiral Warpig. Okay? There's no gross in the front of it. I don't know if that means anything. But look,
Means Grand Admiral.
they've given me results. All you can do is point to a ledger and say, I killed these convoys. I, with my amazing mustache, cannot comprehend how that affects the war effort. I need to see more results, rather than padded KDs, which I would then not look like a hypocrite, bring up the amazing KD of the Luftwaffe.
I'm not sure the Luftwaffe can stand against my 4,347 convoys sunk.
That's because they fly. I feel like you don't understand what they do. But look, if you want to change around here, I need to see results.
You are seeing results. The British are unable to maintain their war machine. They can't produce enough fighters to stand up against our Air Force because I keep sinking every ship that imports their aluminium, their rubber, their steel. They can't bring their Navy against us because their ships don't have enough petrol to supply them because I keep sinking their transport.
If they can't bring
They
their ship,
cannot fight
if they
us.
can not bring their
Let him
ship
speak,
to sea,
Scott.
why can
Let him
you
speak.
not control the English Channel?
Scott, you need
Let
to
us
be
speak.
quiet.
No, don't you tell him to be quiet. I'm telling him to let you speak.
Every ship I sink brings us closer to victory. Every
When?
sea lane blocked brings us closer to victory.
But you haven't
With
blocked all the sea lanes.
Kruppstahl, German engineering, our submarines have done more than all the other brands. Yes, they've taken territory. But so what? It's easy to take territory. If you can't cross the channel, what's the point? They can march across a river without an issue. They get scared when they get their feet. The Navy would take it in our stride.
But you left a gap. They can go through Cape Verde Plan, African coast, Iberian coast, Bay of Biscay, English Channel, all the western approaches.
Because I don't have, because the cease in my naval production scheme has meant that I've had to restrict my operations to areas that I can operate safely without loss.
Why don't you just move the North Atlantic
Bit of a,
Ridge
yeah.
into the Iberian coast?
Because that's within range of naval bombers from Gibraltar and West Africa. Because that's where
You know what
their
else was in range of naval
can
bombers?
sink.
All those Marines. All those army dudes. Even that one fodder group from fucking Italy.
Yeah, and it's an absolute shame the Air Force let them get killed like that.
No.
Don't you take their
Look.
names in vain.
Look,
Again, the Kriegsmarine is pointing the blame at everyone else but themselves.
I think it's
Oh.
time.
The Kriegsmarine takes blame. The Kriegsmarine takes blame for the crushing inability of the army to hold on to its ports. The crushing inability of the Air Force to defend the skies so the Navy can defend the sea lane.
So it's up to every other branch other than the Navy to protect the waters. Isn't that
No.
why the Navy have a job, to protect the waters?
It's up to every other branch to work together with the Navy. Because the Navy can't work on its own.
Yeah, the Air
And
Force
the Navy obviously can't work
Army
with
work
every other
together.
branch
Navy is
because
not a
they're
one-man
off
army.
far away from all the action, just picking easy targets.
You're a traitor to the
For
father.
target.
Stop! He is not a traitor. He is simply misguided. After consulting with my meth eye drops, I firmly believe that your faith in the submarines was most definitely still highly misplaced, as it has encouraged cowardice in your plans. However, I think you can redeem yourself. We will switch the naval production from mainly destroyers and light cruisers to massive fuck-off battleships and carriers. It is the only answer to match their navy on the sea and future navies throughout to secure the German Empire. You will immediately start thinking about doctrines to enable a much larger capital ship fleet. And should you fail at this, I nod at Jester, and he just nods back. Things will happen. And it'll be bad. In like a not uwu kind of way. Do you understand?
Yes, my fear.
Good. Now, moving on from England. I hope before I try to think about this, let's talk about the Mediterranean.
I have a plan.
My Fuhrer, could I give my updated statement before you start?
Oh fuck yeah, shit!
My Fuhrer, it is good to know that I'm still on the forefront of your mind.
Yes, of course.
My Fuhrer,
How did you get back from Sweden so quick? I thought I sent you over there to... Like, what? How did...
with my unyielding,
Who let you in?
undeniable
I
efforts.
don't understand.
My undeniable efforts in France, Poland, Romania, Sweden, I've been instrumental in quadrupling your Lebensraum. With Panzer Group and Z still under my control, my forces now threaten the borders of Norway, the last bastion of defence of the Allied menace in Europe. It's unfortunate that in recent conquests of Sweden, the remaining island of which will be under my control within the end of this conversation, we have suffered a minimal 63,000 casualties in the taking of the Swedish mainland. I can only point to these casualties being a result of the delay imposed upon the initial naval invasions on the eastern port. I will point no fingers, my Fuhrer. That
You
is
don't
not
need
my
to.
business.
I'm not
That
even
is not my
surprised at this
business.
point. But you know what? Mistakes are made. And apparently that dice roll means I'm willing to forgive. Keep going.
Mein Führer, may I interject?
I would just like to hear the rest of what Avi has to say because I really did forget about him.
I just need to go on a quick 2-week holiday.
Alright
I'll be back in about 30 minutes.
Very well. My loyal friend, you've earned it. Okay, Avi.
I would ask my Fuhrer if you wish me to proceed with the final conquest of the last potential bastion of the Allies, Norway, in the northern parts of the European Isles, before turning my attention to your efforts in the Mediterranean.
Yes, we could totally do that because I definitely forgot about that. We will get that sorted ASAP. I can pretty much declare war on them like straight away. So you let me know when you're ready. I have here on a note saying from Jester saying, "Dear Führer, my love, you can totally let Avi like control my dudes for a little bit while I'm on holiday. Thanks, I love you. You're the best. You're so big, Jester." That's it.
Excellent.
Yeah. So there you go. You can use those assets that are already in Sweden and bring this, what did you call them? A menace?
Potential Allied menace.
Yeah.
The last remaining one.
Yep.
Other
Cool.
than the Netherlands, I should say.
Well, we have plans for them, but that's okay. Right, cool. Yep. No, I'm satisfied with that. Right. So, back to the... I didn't forget anyone else, did I? No? Go on, then okay. Yeah, the Mediterranean. Scored. Your plan for the Mediterranean, please.
Okay. How? I've got Apple.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Hmm.
I know how important nutrition is for the army.
It's quite simple. I'm gonna send my motorized Panzer Division down to Sicily, and we're going to mount an amphibious assault into Tunisia. It looks pretty well unopposed. Keep a beach hold there. Once my Panzer guys have a good lockdown, I'll follow up with some more infantry, and we will just delta split. We'll go east and west from there. I'm going to send the Panzer guys towards the Suez. They're going to head towards Egypt from that landing. The infantry are going to head west and head towards Monaco. Hopefully that will draw us a lot of Allied attention over. Well, the Kriegsmarine could use that as an opportunity to start sinking convoys as they come through. We're going to need the Kriegsmarine to get close-ish to shore. I don't know how they feel about being within bombing distance, but hopefully they can balls up and do it. And so as Allies come in to reinforce North Africa, we can sink some boys on the way in.
I don't even know if the Kriegsmarine can get into the Mediterranean at this stage.
That's fine. I just want to sink Allied ships before they get into the Mediterranean.
Perhaps if they took Gibraltar with the Marines.
We can put a lot of German ships to the Iberian coast, just off the coast of Portugal. If we can lock down the entrance to Gibraltar, be able to lock down any reinforcements coming in. And if they're to come up from South Africa, well, the war's already over by the time they get to where we're fighting.
Does anybody else have a plan for the Mediterranean?
Only that I will not be using Panzergruppen H for this attack, which may benefit Skord's advance once he gets a foothold in Africa.
Okay, yeah, sure, we'll sort that out.
Although I appreciate your inputs, Abby, I think supply would be of most concern down here. And I already have my Panzer divisions here sucking up supply. Any more I think would be pushing. If you had to send infantry down, that'd be fantastic.
I can switch to sending infantry down there, yes. Where do you want me to send them? Scott.
Sorry, what?
I can give you 17 divisions of infantry, including 4 divisions of mountain infantry, if it would assist your advance. Or would you just wish the mountain infantry?
It's mountain infantry. Get them to stage in Sicily.
Yep. Sending them to Palermo and assigning them to your theatre.
Thanks, babe.
Okay, cool. Does anybody else have a plan for the Mediterranean?
Mein Führer, unless there is a proposal from Skord as to the most appropriate use of the paratroopers, I would like to focus on capturing Algiers with a airborne force.
Where is Algiers? Can someone point to it?
Free France, to the west, just east of Gibraltar.
Hey, I'm kind of falling asleep, so I'm gonna go to bed. Thank you so much for the game.
No! Who will be the scapegoat?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm falling asleep on my computer, so I can't really help it. So I'm gonna go.
Should we continue this tomorrow?
Alright, we'll finish up the breeding and I will send this recording to Keto so she can do war notes.
Okay.
And then we can continue.
Continue the same time tomorrow? Midday tomorrow? Wait, is everyone going to be around tomorrow?
I'll only be able to play until maybe like
So
5.
the recording from today's game It's 45.5 gigabytes.
That's a lot of gigabytes.
That's 8.5 hours.
I won't be here tomorrow, but then again, I don't count for anything.
Shouldn't fucking speak so low of yourself. Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
No, I'm still here.
No, Warpig's gone.
Well, I mean,
Hungary's time to shine is when it comes to fucking the war with Russia.
Stalingrad.
Where, yeah, when Stalingrad go like just waiting for that
When
moment goes. You're just waiting.
when I
I'm gonna
With the
put a
Fuhrer-
flight line at Berlin, right? And when something happens, I'm gonna fall back and leave Avi there to die.
yeah, the Fuhrer is going to ask you to hold a critical part of the line, which you will not be able to hold, which you
Yeah.
will break.
Yeah.
The Fuhrer
It's
will
just
be
fucking-
screaming and stamping up and down.
Yeah. So that's the time to come.
And then I'm going to request from the Fuhrer the request to fall back and stabilize my line. He's going to say, no, do nothing. I'll be there, and then just never show up. Exactly what he did in 1944.
I'm probably not going to be available. So, yeah.
I'll be free
That's
next weekend though. I'm finished work on Wednesday and have 6 days off.
Might have to continue this next weekend.
Yeah, we can make it a weekend thing.
Yeah, that's fun.
I mean, I won't be able to slate because I'll be thinking about it non-stop. But yeah, sure, we can make it this weekend.
So you get your next 7 days of planning.
Yeah. All right. Let me save it now.
Bloody United Kingdom. Fuck.
I'm actually really, really fucking glad they weren't a pushover.
It's very much the Battle of Britain. Like, I
Yeah, it
could not
really
believe
is.
how
It
much,
really is.
how many aircraft they were punching.
Especially like troops that had just every tile was like a stack of 10.
Yeah,
I think a lot of it's expeditionary stuff as well, Ghost, like from the other countries.
Yeah.
It's like those trash divisions from India and South Africa and shit.
It's all that matters though, that trash or not it holds for the real divisions.
Yeah.
but
It's scored.
it's basically what happened. Like, you know, Germany got held back from going and destroying the rest of the English military, and they were allowed to regroup. And obviously, we did a much better job closing off the pocket.
Yeah,
But-
you did.
Went
A million more
pretty-
better job than the fucking... It's just like...
Just so an unknown magnet.
sorry.
I'm covering Berlin for you. No one ever noticed. I got my fighters in